From a knockout that ended a player's career to a teammate literally taking legal action against his own captain. These are the wild moments when rugby players turned on each other and fought their own teammates. When the Lions and Barbarians played in 2013, Owen Farrell failed to release Schalk Britt's shirt in time and immediately regretted it.
He's holding Britt. Britt swings with the left.
And during Welsh training, after Alan Wynne-Jones accused Jake Ball falsely, Jake Ball came in guns blazing and held nothing back. After instigating the fight, here's how Alan looked in the end. But Joe Marler and James Haskell settled their differences more diplomatically. The two English teammates clashed in club rugby when Joe Marler choked James Haskell with his scrum cap and then squirted water in his face. Haskell completely lost it, grabbed Marler by the throat and had to be pulled away. But after the match, they laughed it off and remembered the game was bigger than any scrap.
Yellow card for James Haskell, but still friends at the end.
Yet, this is something that Carl Ferns completely forgot to take classes on, because when he went out drinking with his Bath teammate Gavin Henson, he ended up knocking Gavin out cold after a minor disagreement. Alassana Tuilagi, on the other hand, has to be one of the scariest things you'll ever see in a rugby shirt. One time, when Samoa faced England, he plucked out a player mid-flight and started an all-out war between the two teams. Among the guys who were caught up in that fight was Lewis Moody. Both Tuilagi and Moody probably forgot that they were Leicester teammates and ended up beating the shit out of each other. But at the Broncos camp, these scuffles have become so many that they are now part of the culture. One of the few recent fights was that time when Josh Maguire and Salisi Funaki threw jabs during training. It was so unnecessary, like when Paul O'Connell almost killed Ryan Caldwell just because of a tackle. In 2007, Ryan Caldwell received his first international call-up to train with Ireland. In training, he tackled any moving thing, even during non-contact sessions. But the moment he tackled O'Connell, his entire career changed. O'Connell punched him so hard, had it not been for the team medic, Ryan Caldwell would have choked on his blood and died. Though he survived that incident, his career also came to an end a few years later, all because of a silly fight. Brutal. Even so, you never want to mess around with the hot temper of the South Africans, especially as far as rugby is involved. Because while they were warming up before a game, Eben Etzebeth almost turned his Toulon teammate into a ragdoll, just because Julian Ori didn't grapple right. That was outrageously unprofessional. Just like Lote Tukiri's reaction when he snapped at Sam Norton-Knight for a mistake that cost the Waratahs victory against the Western Force. With the scores tied at the final minute of the game, the Waratahs miraculously gained a penalty in a kickable position, but what seemed like an opportunity to gain control of the game almost turned into an event that broke all hell loose. Instead of setting up the ball for a penalty kick, Sam Norton-Knight tapped the ball and started the penalty quickly, and this pissed Lote Tukiri, who was quick to openly share his sentiments. Sam easily kept his cool, but that would have quickly escalated into an ugly fist fight. Sometimes, when rugby teammates get into fistfights, it's usually due to something more beautiful and affectionate. Like that time Brian O'Driscoll stood for Ronan O'Gara against Austin Healey. You see, after Ronan O'Gara had been knocked out by Duncan McRae during this incident, Austin Healey was always looking to have a laugh or two, and though O'Driscoll wanted to teach Austin a lesson, he also didn't want to injure him.
You know, I told Austin, listen, you have a game at the weekend, I can't have you going out there with a split eye because I've thumped the head off you, so I'm going to have to leave it at that.
That was some sportsmanship there, but Manu Tuilagi wasn't as sportsmanlike, because after a slight push from Chris Ashton, when the Northampton Saints met the Leicester Tigers, he ensured that he drew blood from his English teammate. Judging from how the blows landed, I'm guessing Tuilagi didn't like that fight any more than Chris Ashton did. And although such incidents happen, rarely do you find teammates having such fights on the pitch, especially in union rugby. But in the Grassroots, these incidents are usually just another day at the office. Sean Morrison almost decapitated his Napier teammate with a crazy jab, and everyone just continued with life as if nothing happened. Crazy! And speaking of crazy jabs, we have to speak about that time Adam Reynolds, the Broncos captain, snapped at his vice-captain after they went drinking the entire night. That's some leadership there, leading by example. But sometimes karma has a way of making you turn against each other. When the Springboks faced England in 2002, They were handicapped early on in the match after Labuschagne made this rash challenge on Wilkinson. From then on, the Springboks could only watch as England thrashed them. But, as the captain, Corné Krige had other plans, injuring his opponents. But in the process, he did this to his teammate, completely knocking him out. Pretorius never came back into the game after that. But there has to be something about the Springboks and teammate aggression, because during one of the training sessions at Montpellier, Bismarck du Plessis was quick to exchange blows with Mohamed Hawass for a reason no one even knew about. And in the Chiefs camp, Samipe Finau was just as quick to exchange jabs after he went all out at Hamilton Burr during training. The duo were, however, lucky because no charges were pressed. But on the other side of town, Amanaki Mafi was not as lucky. For years, Amanaki Mafi and Lopeti Timani had been buddies. Having grown up playing rugby together, they would even visit each other for drinks. But one day during one of those meetings at Amanaki's home, Amanaki turned against his teammate and put an end to their years-long friendship. After the incident, Timani was quick to press charges and Amanaki was summoned to court. Amanaki felt really bad for what he did, so he just pleaded guilty and ended up paying $65,000 in fines. It was really sad seeing how years of friendship could be ruined so quickly, simply because people disagreed. But what's even sadder is how a fight might end your career in a snap. Ask Payne Haas. He almost woke up unemployed after this incident. Luckily, when the team heard that the fight was all because of a pair of shoes, they reconsidered keeping him on. But Mike Brown wasn't as lucky, because in 2019, as they were preparing for the World Cup with the English team, he got into a stupid altercation with Ben Teo. You see, after that session they went for a social event. So during that event, Itoje had made a silly joke that didn't impress Mike Brown at all. But Ben Teo wanted to nag Mike Brown even more about it. He ended up missing the World Cup due to a fight that he never got a chance to throw a single punch. I imagine Mike Brown still holds a grudge against Ben Teo for that. But in a few other instances, teammates usually become closer friends than they were, all thanks to a fight. Like Danny Cipriani and Josh Lucy, who ended up creating a legendary celebration from their fight. That's unique, especially during a time when rugby wasn't such a sentimental sport. Nonetheless, nothing tops the kind of bond you create as a team when you get to fight a machete gang as a team. During John Fox Davies' socials at Clermont-Auvergne, his teammates took him to a local bar. As they were socializing, they ended up a few people there. Coincidentally, when John Fox Davies and his teammates left the bar, they met a gang waiting for them with machetes. It turns out those guys that they had were the local mafia or something. So drunk and armed with nothing, an all-out war broke out. Luckily, no one died. But even so, fighting a gang with machetes is mental. And then there's Latrell Mitchell and Jacob Host at Rabbitoh's training, who didn't keep their cool at all. One heavy handoff, a bit of chat, and suddenly the star fullback and his back rower are wrestling and being dragged apart in front of the cameras.
Taking his legs out, and you could slowly see the escalation.
Better yet, imagine seeing siblings fight on the pitch and making a show in front of everyone. When the Canterbury Bulldogs and Illawarra Dragons played in 2010, Josh Morris and his twin Brett Morris decided to settle their drama in front of the fans, but they did it in a way that the ref couldn't do anything but laugh. We need to see that sibling rivalry more often. Anyways, if you loved this one, share with us the fight you enjoyed the most and let us know the one we missed in the comments below. If you want to see more videos like this one, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Rugby Throwback.